Welcome. Holders of an Environmental Authorisation and Environmental Management Program must have those documents audited as long as they remain valid. So in this video, we explain the protocols for undertaking an environmental audit as prescribed in the amended EIA Regulations of 2014. And in this particular video, we highlight those tasks or duties that need to be fulfilled by the auditor. In our second video, that is part 2 for patrons, we highlight those tasks that need to be fulfilled by the holder of the environmental authorization. So if you do hold an environmental authorization and an environmental management program, you'll want to watch both these videos. Welcome. My name is Sean McGregor of ecoleges Environmental Consultants based in Mpumalanga, South Africa. And we're on a mission to empower all South Africans to protect their environment through the correct interpretation and application of our environmental legislation. So if you want to learn how our environmental law applies to you, how to avoid unnecessary and costly mistakes, if you want to increase your knowledge and skills to reduce your reliance on external consultants, if you're in need of mentorship, or you want to earn CPD points for a professional registration, we suggest you subscribe to this channel. You can do that by swiping your mouse over the icon to the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Don't forget to click on the bell notification icon so that you can be notified the moment we upload a new video. And if you do know of anyone else can benefit from these videos, we would sincerely appreciate your support in trying to help spread the message by liking them. Thank you. We depart from the series Environmental Impact Assessments, and the title of this video is Protocol for Environmental Audits. According to Regulation 34 of the amended EIA Regulations of 2014, the holder of an environmental authorization and environmental management program must ensure that the compliance with the conditions of the EA and EMPr are audited for as long as they remain valid. The audit report must contain all the information set out in Appendix 7. So I'll include a link to these amended EIA Regulations of 2014 in the description below. Appendix 7 of the EIA Regulations identifies the objectives and outlines the content of an environmental audit report. It's this information that we've used to create a rough protocol or procedure for undertaking environmental audits. Now, the overall objective of an environmental audit is to ensure or to make sure that the EMPr, that is the Environmental Management Program, is working as it was intended to ensure that the mitigated impacts do not exceed those thresholds predicted in the EIA, to ensure that the development is sustainable. And that is why it is absolutely critical for any and every environmental management program to contain or include measurable objectives and outcomes, because it is against these benchmarks that the effectiveness of the EMPr will be tested. The person needs to ask questions like, are the conditions or measures collectively achieving a desired outcome? And is each measure sufficiently providing for the avoidance, the control, or the reduction of an impact that was intended? And the only way of answering these questions is for an auditor to measure two things, both compliance and performance, as required in Regulation 34 2BI, which reads, the environmental audit report contemplated in Subregulation 1 must provide verifiable findings in a structured and systematic manner on the level of performance against and compliance of an organization or project with the provisions of the requisite environmental authorization or EMPr and, where applicable, the closure plan. Both compliance and performance need to be measured, because failure to achieve a desired outcome can result from either non-compliance, that is not implementing the full extent of a provision as prescribed, or if it is being implemented, then an ineffective or an inappropriate measure, a measure that doesn't adequately address the problem. When scoring compliance, you can assign a 0 in the case of non-compliance and a 1 in the case of compliance. Please remember that there is no such thing as partial compliance. It is either 0 or 1. In the case of performance, you can assign a 0, 1, 2, 3, or even an A, B, C, D. And when measuring performance, you need to determine its ability to provide for avoidance, control, or reduction, whatever the case may be, as well as its ability to achieve a desired objective or outcome regarding a particular impact. And once again, that's why it's so important to stress that these objectives and outcomes must be measurable. In conclusion, so far we've learned that the audit criteria include the Environmental Authorisation, the Environmental Management Program, and where applicable, the closure plan. So the audit checklist will need to include the conditions or measures contained in those documents. The audit checklist will also need to include 2 scoring systems. Each condition must be scored for compliance and performance. Then Regulation 34.2b refers to verifiable findings. That means that each score within the audit checklist must be founded on concrete evidence, whether it's a photograph, a document reference number, minutes of meetings, an interview, or laboratory results. Another important aspect of any audit is to clearly define its scope and to convey that scope to the reader within the audit report. In a previous video entitled EA Scope and Validity Period, we explained that environmental authorizations and their accompanying EMPRs are applicable to either development only or development and operation. Those environmental authorizations with operational and non-operational aspects must have distinct portions dealing with each of those phases separately. So the scope of an audit must indicate whether it is measuring compliance and performance against either operational or non-operational aspects. And then the audit checklist must include only those measures that are applicable to the relevant portion within the EA or EMPr. Finally, according to Regulation 26E and implicit within 34.2d, an environmental authorization must specify the audit frequency, which may not exceed intervals of 5 years. So for an environmental authorization that relates to or deals only with development, it will include most likely a condition requiring only a post-construction audit, and it'll read something like this. The holder of an environmental authorization must submit an environmental compliance audit report to the department within 30 days of completion of the construction phase. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I really hope this has been helpful, and thank you for taking the time to watch it. If you have joined our membership program, then you will receive an additional video. We explain those additional tasks that still need to be fulfilled by the holder of an environmental authorization to fully complete the environmental audit process as prescribed in the EIA Regulations. If you haven't joined our membership program yet, then check it out on Patreon. Otherwise, if you're looking for a consultant to help you with a once-off project, you are welcome to visit our website. Check out our previous video over here. We looked at the public participation process, a critical component of EIAs. Next video, let's keep it a surprise. I really don't know what that is yet. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe, click on the bell notification icon. If you know of anyone else who can benefit, please like the video. Thank you, keep strong, and God bless.